Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Redux of the Ergo Classic AMA style. As some of you may know, if you've been paying attention to socials, we're kind of changing up what we're doing. We're going to guarantee the first of the month one of these kind of style AMAs where we try to have different people on. Like as you can see today below me, we have Richi from the Usecoin project. We have, we have Joseph Armeanio, who needs no introduction. And to my right, we have Batman. We have Kusthi right there in the dark, right, doing the Anon kind of style. So we'll do that the first Thursday of every month, and then we'll leave the week after that for flexible things. We've already been discussing what we might do for next week, and then for sure we'll have the third week Thursday. We're going to have the classic community chat, community discussion format, where we hopefully don't get Zoom bombed too much, figure out a better medium. Maybe it's Spaces, maybe it's not. We'll see. And go from there, and then wild card again for the 4th. And if there's a 5th Thursday in the month, then we'll see what we can do. And then hopefully Joe and I can connect at 1 a.m. and do some late night dev updates or something in between to fill some gaps. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, with that aside, welcome everybody. Welcome Joe, Kusthi, Richi. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so busy days, but doing well overall. So use launch was successful. At least what was done successfully. So I'm currently pinging code for USS to run off-chain bots from today, and from Saturday or Sunday we are expecting UI launch. Maybe Richi can provide more details, but yeah, I'm in touch with developers and them. So yeah, it will be available to end users soon. So off-chain bots will start to work today.
Well, why don't we have Richi jump right in? Richi, tell us how the launch went. You used Mu Finance, and how'd all that go?
Yeah. It went well. So the first idea came to me probably 2 years ago. So I can talk a little bit about it. So the idea is that we have a lot of miners in Ergo that hold their coins, and they are not very sophisticated in DeFi overall. So we have lots of liquidity that is not used for purpose. That kind of holds our network back. Compared to other projects, we're not a VC project. We don't have all these VCs who pre-mine or allocate themselves all the capital, and then they can use it to promote. So all our coins are fairly distributed. So we have to kind of activate our community, the power of the community properly. Now, while many of these guys are just, miners or some people who love the idea of a fair launch cryptocurrency, they not necessarily understand how DeFi works. They maybe suffered some losses during this, meme coin mania or whatever. So most of the people are kind of scared to use their coin. They prefer to go like a hodl for years and then sell if someone if the price pumps, right? So now, because our project is fairly launched, so there's no one, everyone needs to understand, there's no one to pump the price behind, right? So we need to do it ourselves. We need to work ourselves to get us where we need to, where we deserve to be, right? Maybe someone will jump along the way, someone will notice and jump along the way and decide like there's a massive capital and invest in Ergo, but it's not guaranteed. So we need to work ourselves on this way, and basically if someone wants to join along the road, if he sees the potential, of course everyone is welcome. We're an open ecosystem, but by default, if we just hold what we've mined and don't do anything with it, we might be where we are for years, right? So that was my idea. So now I was thinking how to create a framework that allows us to use the capital, the power of the community, but then again, be very safe. for people. So with very clear assumptions, they're not risking too much. It's very low risk project for investments, for contribution. So I put this idea of a CLB framework, and I submitted it during the Ergo Hack 9, I think was it, and got in touch with new finance guys who are very collaborative. So we had some very good discussions, and they came up with their launch path, which was kind of a little bit modified to meet SLB requirements. And we came up with this sale, the idea of backing up the stable coin, our new generation stable coin that has lots of technologies behind it, to back it up with the community money, basically, community funds. And as you could see, it was quite a successful launch. So we managed to get 395,000 ERG. I don't think in the history of Ergo we had any of that kind of launches, or I can't remember, right? So so what we do now, very clear assumptions. Everyone knows 129 people participated. The protocol is already launched. So what we need is just UI and some off-chain bots, and hopefully the coin will be tradable by this weekend. And after that, the idea is to expand, make it cross-chain, go to other blockchains and start offering them stable coins. Stable coins have very clear value, so everyone knows how much is $1, right? So you don't need to explain what Ergo is and things like that. They'll just the idea is to expand our dollar, and by expanding our algorithmic dollar, naturally our TVL will grow, and people will come, learn how bank works, how liquidity pool works. So, and they will learn about the chain itself. But even if they don't, they just simply buy the stable coin. For every stable coin bought, some ERGs will be going to bank, right? So like that, we are creating a revenue stream and some economics. So I guess there will be many questions about our plans and future. So this is the idea. To answer your first question, the idea was to unlock the power of community and unlock all the coins that have been sitting pretty much doing nothing, and put them to work for Ergo, right? So, and I think the first stage showed that it worked pretty well.
So what, Richie, and Alex, I guess, what makes a stablecoin different? I understand that Alex was involved with the concept of it or the building of that, the algorithms.
Yeah, so the contracts, the idea was mine. Well, mostly discussed it with Bruno and so on. Then contracts were built initially by Amitabh, rest in peace. And then, I've extended them and fixed some things, did tests and so on. Then, we had Dexy Gold launch, right, and some tests. But Dexy Gold was launched by me, so it was highly experimental. So I didn't want to attract any money, from outside. So just put 1,000 ERC into the bank. So it's small scale. Now it's bigger. Like few times bigger, few K in the liquidity pool and like 3K in the bank. So it's doing quite well. We had quite volatile price movements, big volatility in recent months, but it's doing well. So the bank is full and so on. After watching our Dexy Gold behavior in the free markets, which we have, like sometimes absolutely free, with no insiders and so on, right? Like in case of Dexy Gold. So Richie proposed to launch USD And about fair launch. So I think it is very much needed to document the launch this time to avoid, some mythology to be appeared later, like happened with CQSD to some degree. Because I think it's quite unique kind of launch, right, for this so-called crypto industry. So. From what I've seen, there were many algorithmic stablecoins launched back in 2021, 22, right? And often there were some crazy stories when, VCs and teams were involved, and then so sometimes they attracted liquidity by selling $1 for 70 cents. Before the launch, and then after the launch it was deep egg just because of early investors went out. So a lot of crazy stories which you can find over the internet. Some of them some maybe not so well documented even, but so for the use launch, I think there is need to document this effort of the community.
Well, let's before we hit this question that we have up here, let's circle to Joe. Joe, how do you see Rosen helping out with the use spreading across ecosystems?
That's what Rosen is built for, right? To take assets into new markets. So I do think that as we grow, we can expand, put them in new environments, some of which have deep liquidity already, right? You could look at, Binance Smart Chain base as a future option. And then you can also look at kind of emerging DeFi ecosystems, right? Where you may have chains that don't have access to like the traditional stablecoin value, and I think there could be huge demand there as well, because it's offering a new product that they kind of need. Stable value has a lot of use. That's actually probably been one of the best use cases of crypto stable coins, in terms of allowing people around the world to access dollars that potentially offers them more stability and inflation resistance than their own local currency. So I think around the world it's like 400 million are using Tether, which is pretty powerful.
Are most stable coins chain dependent, or are they offering some sort of bridge where there's shared liquidity on one chain and it's spreading out to other chains?
Yeah, a lot of like the traditional stable coins have like a native implementation, but right. Oftentimes what happens is they have the same control system, right? So they have the ability to issue assets, they have the ability to freeze assets, they have the ability to seize assets in some case. There's even talk about reversing transactions. So there's no need for a bridge. They have essentially God mode turned on.
Yeah.
So they can balance liquidity, move things around as they want.
So remind me, Joe, with Rosen Bridge, if the core Rosen team was like, we hate everything and we want to go away, people could still utilize those smart contracts as long as the watchers and the guards were still doing their thing, right?
We have
no central part there.
We have the guard set is distributed enough that if all the Rosen team disappeared, the guard would still function. Now, it's like, okay, it'd be messy in terms of development, but
it'd get figured out, I'm sure. There's quite a bit of incentive to figure that out. Yeah.
The code is open source. It's there for a reason. Our contribution standards have been picked up by a couple of different layer ones that are in different stages of integration, which is nice to see. Team has been kind of putting together different test environments and preparing, moving from theory to practice is always, nothing kicks you in the teeth like life, right? When you have great ideas in your head. So we're preparing for contribution from external chains, and that's going to be a learning process because it's the first time. But I assume that once we get that process down, it'll be, you know, less friction to bootstrap every time. So I'm looking forward to that.
And I've seen some great questions from the Firo team. Maybe there is need to provide answers in public, right? So that we're interested in guards, right? So how hard to censor out certain chains, right? Assets, because it seems for them it's the huge issue, right? So most of centralized exchanges just thrown them away for like for just for providing very basic human right, basically for financial privacy.
Yeah, Rosen was designed with that in mind. You know, that's one thing that we want to do is distribute the guards in terms of geographically, right? That way, any particular zone of control, you know, guards could go offline, the bridge still survives, right? That there's no point in having distributed infrastructure unless you have that in mind for this type of project. So, you know, we are globally distributed to where we don't have enough footprint in any single jurisdiction that if, you know, the guards went offline, the bridge still operates, right? It is something that from Genesis we've wanted to do, which is expand the guard set. Now, it probably makes sense to do that as a batch rather than a single guard. So, you know, once we have sufficient development and we're kind of ready to take on that task, we want to expand the guard set while keeping like geographic distribution in mind and ultimately harden the system, right? That's really important for censorship resistance, because you can have like, you know, multi-sig assumptions that's just one guy, right? That's not hard to do. But you know, to have something that has decent liveness guarantees and decent censorship resistance that's actually distributed across, you know, Earth is a different animal.
Well, we got a question from Byron in here. I'm going to pop it up here. It's a question-ish, I think. I didn't have time to read it real quick. Let's see. Curious, it's about use. Curious, other reserves, non-metals, being shorter duration than Ergo would always net more term premium for the base chain while not having different fee structures. Only duration, i.e. term premium. That makes sense to any of you guys? You want to chime in on there?
What was the question?
I'll read it again.
I heard Richie, and then my brain just turned off.
Byron's curious. Other reserves, non-metals, being shorter duration than Erg, would always net more term premium for the base chain while not having different fee structures. Only duration, i.e., term premium.
Oh, it's kind of hard to predict, right? I would say the one thing that we're kind of running into in like this year specifically is just volatility, right? So you know, we are kind of entering this phase of, you know, I would say mass fear of debt saturation, right? And so we've seen, you know, gold, silver essentially explode relative to how they normally move, right? I think gold's at an all-time high. I think silver's at an all-time high. And then you kind of have the tricky paper market around both of those assets where they're rehypothecated to hell, sometimes overrepresented like 200, 300 to 1 based on like physical versus paper. So those are some crazy markets to consider in terms of like what is possible if you know, people start to actually claim like delivery, right? I have no idea. It's one of those things where market making tricks and, you know, rehypothecation of which creates like artificially inflated supply creates all kinds of fuckery. So I've personally, you know, even had like a silver Oracle built actually for Rosen, because that was something that, you know, long term I find fascinating. I've kind of made the decision that based on all the other stuff that I'm juggling, it makes sense to sit back and say, okay, well, you know, we have use, we have gluon, you know, we have I believe there's like Jed Shu, which is some Sigma USD variant that's been proposed. It makes sense, in my opinion, to just be conservative and watch, gather, information, and then make a choice. But that is potential to have, let's say, other assets in these frameworks. It's just Oracle dependent. But I do think that being conservative is wise here. Sit down, let them compete. Gather kind of real world testing information, and then we'll know how to proceed.
Richie, anything to add to that?
So the idea of adding more derivatives like silver, gold, gold we have, is appealing, but I think the way the markets are built, and it's not like my choice or Kushi's or Joe's. So the people, for some reason, they value United States dollar first, right? And if you even look at all the stable coins that exist now in circulation, the dollar dominates over everything. It's, if you look underneath the structure, probably it's fragile. It doesn't make sense that dollar has such a huge domination and printing the trillions of debts. But this is the reality, right? And the first one, the most understood for everyone currently is the dollar. So that's what I kind of want to focus on, by use being the first mover. But after that, yes, we can definitely expand our lineup to precious metals, maybe oil, maybe something else. I mean, it's. But it just makes sense to make dollar first because it's the most understood and the widespread, right? It has the deepest liquidity. But yes, definitely we're open for other metals and other assets to be added under the same scheme. Yeah.
Well, we got a kind of an off-topic question we can pop in here really quickly. Let me bring this up. Bobcat is looking about wondering what your guys' thoughts are on the Kachina protocol from Midnight and how it could work with Ergo, or how we could use it in Ergo or leverage it, essentially. Or maybe even with use or that kind of stable crossing.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah. All right. So I read the paper like 5 years ago, something like that. So it's a paper from like late 2010. So probably makes sense then to review alternative approaches like Aleo or DarkFi, and then provide comparison, right, somehow. I believe that there is some plan for that, but not sure when time can be found for that. So I think at some point there is need to consider possibility for private contracts, right? But there are a lot of variables here. So the space is now considering mostly Ethereum developers, not Bitcoin, still post-quantum cryptography, right? And that usually breaks everything we use in regards with complex protocols and so on. So I think maybe it's better to build some basic tooling, right, and to understand how can we build monetary expansion to the real world, and then consider privacy. Well, also with considering complications such as post-quantum security and so on. Maybe give up. So it depends. I mean, it's still not very good shaped. It's still mostly uncharted territory. think. So yeah.
All right. Well, there's another question in there, but we'll let that hold for a sec. Sorry, go on, Kusthi.
Yeah, but maybe Richi can add. So he had some thoughts about the need for private DEX and so on. Expressed in some chats. So, Richi, do you have some thoughts on the need for private contracts, private DEXs, and so what's the needs do markets have in your opinion? Because we are here to enable free markets, right? Digital markets.
The market definitely values the privacy, and if it's possible to build a DEX, leverage trading or stable coins that have the privacy features, that will definitely be appreciated by the market. Now, the Kachina protocol and Midnight kind of trying to achieve that. I'm not the tech person to understand it tech deeply to say whether it's what's the trade-offs there. And looking at the roadmap that Midnight is proposing, we're talking about some smart contracts going live around Q3, I think, next year. So we'll see how it goes. The one thing that is clear to me, if we connect to Midnight via Rosen, we will definitely bring a used stable coin there. And if by getting to Midnight, it becomes private, that will be already quite a big achievement. So you have algorithmic stable coin on private chain. Man, that sounds like a very good combo to me. So while not getting inside what Midnight plans about their own technologies, I'm definitely a big proponent of expanding Rosen to support Midnight and expanding use to getting into that environment as well. Why not?
All right, yeah, and I believe as it is about bringing tokens, the use token right in the first place. So it should be quite straightforward, right? So I believe they should provide some primitives for that, for private tokens on Midnight.
Yeah, I haven't looked into Midnight in a while, to be honest. Just Bitcoin and other things, but I do know at one point reviewed documentation, but that was a while ago. So I'm no subject matter expert there.
Yeah, so I need to refresh my knowledge as well, but yeah, then it would be good to consider options because bringing algorithmic stable coins to private environments, it's a very good combo indeed.
All right, let's see. We've got another follow-up from Byron saying the different reserves support their own use, like ADA use, X-chain use, making volatility contained within each ecosystem's proof of support. A basket of algorithmic stables rated by open standards. Yeah, I feel that, right? With utilizing Rosen to spread stablecoin across ecosystems, it feels like such a crowdsourced version of something that makes the management of it actually so much easier in the long run, right? If you have community-run liquidity pools popping up on chains where it's needed that you bridge to, then what do you have to do? As the creator of the project, nothing. No, I guess, Richi, seems a lot easier to be able to sustain and manage something like that.
Yeah, I can speak about like my plans and how I see expansion. And just ask me questions and feel free to interrupt. So I did some research, and if you look at Uniswap v3 type of pools, now they have Uniswap v4, but that's done mostly for leverage trading, so it has no benefit for us. But Uniswap v3 is quite interesting protocol, and it's battle tested already. So obviously we have it on a pancake swap, and we will have it on Base as well. Now, the cost efficiency of Uniswap V3, try to guess. Now, for example, Cardano and Ergo, we are using typical AMM pools, right? Straight AMM pools, Uniswap V2 type pools. But for stablecoin, it makes sense to switch to Uniswap V3 and kind of select a range, shorter range. And the efficiency of the protocol goes 20x. So what does it mean? You need $1 million worth of liquidity on a standard MM pool, and you can replicate the same efficiency, the same slippage on Uniswap V3 with just $50,000 of liquidity, right? So if we create that liquidity pool used to USDT just with 50,000, for example, just as arbitrary number, but on Uniswap V3 on PancakeSwap, it's essentially the same as getting $1 million worth of liquidity on MMV2, or if you translate it into ADA, like 2.5 million ADA. So if you look at the top ADA stable coins now, their liquidity is between 2 and I think 6 is the most. So we can replicate the same depth and the same basically quality and cost efficiency for the end user with just a fraction of it. So this is my next step. I already have in my mind the program that we will launch for the community, probably in a one month's time, to crowdsource the liquidity to build MMV3's type of pool on PancakeSwap. So with that one, we will have very efficient rails to move stable coins between USDT, USD, Ergo, and Cardano. I think everyone will be pleasantly surprised, and with the slippage and with slippage tolerance and things like that. So that's what is in my mind, and over the next like 1 month, like I said, that's the primary goal. And after that, we will plan to expand on other chains, Cardano, and maybe some smaller chains that will join the Rosen. But basically, every chain will have a very cost-efficient rails to move from USDT or USDC back into use and to their own chain, just at a fraction of the cost. So with that one, once deployed, obviously lots of arbitrage traders will jump in because for them cost efficiency is very important, and we will have quite a big volumes moving and trading. So that's what I'm hoping for, to enable that trading volume in the next couple months with the help of the community.
All right, so it's kind of arbitrage friendly, right? Stablecoin. And I believe actually, in the crypto industry, so stablecoins are mostly to tame volatility, right? And do arbitrage, actually, they're used for, right? I'm not very proficient in trading all that stuff, but is it true?
Yeah, stable coins are used for arbitrage trading mostly, and they move to different chains a lot, and cost efficiency is very important here. So like I said, the Rosen enables cost-efficient implementation, and PancakeSwap, Uniswap V3 type pools enable very efficient trading. So we already have these very efficient rails that we just need to spread, and then people will naturally jump in as we expand.
Well, nice. And also, it seems it will enable Binance Smart Chain, right? So currently, Rosen is still mostly about Cardano, right? Bringing assets to Cardano from Ergo and back. And so the plan is to go for Binance Smart Chain in the first place, right? For use.
Yeah. Yes, Binance Smart Chain is the first priority now, because it has USDT. It has very cost-efficient USDT. It's very centralized, but that's what people want, it seems. So they like USDT, and yeah, the Binance Smart Chains enables that very cost-efficient use of USDT. So the funds should be flying back and forth to Ergo, Binance Chain, Cardano, and later to other chains.
All right. What about Ethereum?
Ethereum now is improving a little bit. The cost of transactions on Ethereum was a bit high. But with the recent updates, and I just read yesterday that they're enabling, they're going for another hard fork soon. So with that updates, the cost of using the Ethereum L1 goes down. At the moment, it's not, and will never be as cost efficient as Binance Smart Chain, simply because it's a very centralized chain, right? But yes, I'll be monitoring that. So, for example, 1 year ago, it made no sense to deploy on Ethereum because just the cost of transaction was very high, but it's getting better. So I'll keep monitoring that, and yeah, maybe we will enable it in future if there will be a demand.
Nice. We've got another question here, guys. And maybe it's for both Kusthi and Richi. What's the redundancy on the bots that do the buybacks for the protocol? Any of them running like on duck pools, or only one or two? I guess like DEXI2, right?
Sorry. Can you repeat, please?
What is the redundancy on the bots that do the buybacks for the protocol, for the use protocol? Are any of them running like on duck pools, or only one or two?
Yeah, so currently the code for off-chain bots done by code for USS is closed, but he's promising to open source the bots quickly after polishing the code. So yeah, currently he's ashamed a bit open source them, but yeah, after some polishing. And I think that there is needs to open source UI also, right? And to have pools on Ergo Dex and so on. So and then wallets like Nautilus and Ergo Wallet and Ergo Mixer, actually, maybe Minotaur as well. Not sure. So they all have a feature to mint CQSD, right? So the should be an option, I believe, in the long term also to get use, right, in a wallet.
Yeah, I do think that with Machina Finance, with the grid ordering that we're doing, it will be pretty powerful in terms of like community arbitrage around use, just because the amount of orders per block potentially could really push a lot of activity through the Ergo network just in that one use case, arbitrage.
Actually, I have a question to Alex about that, what just Joe mentioned, if you don't mind. Alex, so when we have Machina Finance live, do you think there is a possibility to add a liquidity pool there that will be also controlled by a bank? So is it somehow possible to have two liquidity pools that bank interacts with? Or I know it sounds like complicated, but the cost efficiency and overall the whole structure of Machina Finance is very appealing to me. I think that will be a great DEX with the presentation that Anon BR did during the Ergo anniversary. That looks like it will be a very great asset to trade tokens on Ergo. So I was thinking if we can somehow make bank work with that DEX as well, in addition to Ergo DEX that we're doing right now, or maybe transfer liquidity somehow. But something just theoretical. Obviously, you don't need to answer right now fully.
Well, to have two pools, could be complicated. So, switching to another pool, maybe either it would be right. But actually, I think conceptually, even it makes sense to have one reference pool, right, and then others will be equalized with it via arbitrage, right? So, and with two pools, so the bank does need to account for both somehow, right, and then to intervene into both. So yeah, a lot of complexities here probably. Maybe even some variants of Gresham's law. I don't know. Possibly yes, because pools are quite different, right? They're different markets after all, somehow. But need to think about it.
Yeah, we will definitely.
Yeah, actually, very interesting. I would discuss it with Bruno, I guess, next week. We will.
Yes, it's something to think about, because Machina by its design will enable like next level DeFi on Ergo. So just for people listening here, Machina Finance should allow us to match the liquidity, the efficiency of Uniswap V3 type pools. So think about efficiency of our current pools, like Uniswap V2. That's what we have on Ergo. And then with Machina, with the grid orders, we will be able to set up ranges, and it goes like 10x of 5x, 10x, depends on the trading pair. So for stablecoin pairs, it makes a lot of sense to trade them on Machina Finance. It should be very novel. It's very interesting. We'll see how it works. We're still a few months probably away from it. But yeah, something I'm already thinking, it will be very, very beneficial development for Ergo DeFi.
Right. So, it's quite exciting, right? So we can have concentrated liquidity pools then, basically, just without liquidity pools, ones. I mean, standard, like Uniswap, and that's quite interesting. And that would be useful for stable to stable, right? So CQSD to use, for example, Gleon Gold to Dexy Gold pools.
Yeah, correct.
I kind of conceptualize that anyway, in terms of extending people's power from being their own bank to being their own market maker, right? Where they have the ability to set these grids within certain liquidity ranges, and essentially, fulfill the purpose that market making outfits do in terms of liquidity management in and around spread. So that'll be cool.
And with Dexy design, where a bank is slow to intervene, indeed, a lot of possibilities for arbitrage, right, with other stable coins. So, and that's would help the bank as well, right? So the markets would stabilize before the interventions, mostly. It should be the case, and that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. We've got another hit from Ursa Minor 2010. Wants to know if there could be a marketplace for the Ergo 85763 F38 LP, the LP tokens. Can you make liquidity pools with LP tokens as part of the pair? I'm wondering how abstract this whole thing can get.
So the question is about creating markets with liquidity pools.
Yeah, creating a pair with liquidity pools, markets, trading, arbitrage, all that kind of stuff with the liquidity.
Yeah.
Yep. tokens.
Yeah, sorry, but you have LP token on one side, and on another side you have what?
I guess you'd put whatever you'd want the pair to be, right? Whatever you would speculate against in that manner.
All right.
Alex, I can take that. So basically, CLB token that was distributed to everyone is essentially your LP token, right? So in 2 years, you will be able to redeem CLB to liquidity tokens, and then with the liquidity tokens, redeem the liquidity from the main pool, right? So
Ursa's saying SIG USD. Like make a pair with SIG USD, but sorry, go on, Richie.
Yeah. So currently, yes, we have CLB tokens already tradable with Ergs, and they will be tradable with use this weekend or whenever the UI goes live. So, and that's essentially you are trading your liquidity pool tokens with Erg or with stablecoin. So what he says is, yes, it is possible, but it's much better representation when it's like a derivative of it. So a CLB token is essentially a liquidity token, and you can trade it even now. You can go now to any of our dexes and then buy or sell CLB tokens, and that's essentially you're buying or selling a liquidity token. You cannot redeem it yet, because that's the whole idea, to keep that liquidity working for the ecosystem for 2 years, but you can trade it.
Where is it? Where is it now? It looks like it's in the LP's in about 10 wallets or so. Richie,
Sorry,
that token. I'm looking at its contents right now.
CLB?
No, your whatever that the LP token. You've created the LP token already? No.
Yes, the LP token is created. Is on the CLB launch pool. So it will be transferred to smart contract and will be locked there. We'll see how much time it takes to create the smart contract, the redeem smart contract. If it will take a little bit longer, then we will just transfer it to Rosen for storage for 2 years. And then after that, to store and to Rosen cold wallet, multi-sig cold wallet. And then, from there, we will transfer it to smart contract with a time lock until December 1st, 2027. And then when December 1st, 2027 comes, you will be able to use CLB tokens to redeem your liquidity tokens. I hope that makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah, it does. Yep. Great. All right, let's see what else we have. I don't see any other questions unless we've missed some. What about any other news in the ecosystem? Well, we have 10 minutes left, guys. Alex, what you been working on? Joe, you didn't talk. You're muted, Joe. But what about your runes? That's been kind of.
Yeah, we have a lot of news, so 10 minutes not enough probably. But we can take another 5. And Joe, please go ahead.
Sure. So let's start with runes. Rosen runes did go live, which means we can now wrap assets onto Bitcoin, which is really unique. Now we're kind of looking across the Bitcoin DeFi space, and I gotta say it's pretty rough in terms of like the shallowness of it. So we're actually have our own little thinking group in terms of like interactive transaction construction, which is basically where you use partially signed signatures and then off-chain logic to coordinate more complex swaps, kind of like I don't know what you call it. It's like an atomic swap on the same chain with off-chain conditions that you're agreeing on or coming to consensus on is the net goal. So we're actually...
How do you enforce those off-chain?
Well, you have to use partially signed transactions, essentially. Okay. It's a working group theory that we're playing with right now, which is kind of fun. We are going to support a protocol called Ducat protocol, which is somewhat of a MakerDAO style stablecoin on Bitcoin itself. That's going to be backed by Bitcoin Layer 1 liquidity. I think they're going to launch next year. And so I do think it's quite interesting if we can scrap together some sort of AMM design. We can potentially get stablecoin to stablecoin pairs on Bitcoin. Who knows? Maybe one of these days they'll drop something like BIP 119 and we'll get covenants, and then all of that will be wasted time. But Bitcoin is incredibly slow to evolve, so maybe that's like due 2040. Let's see. In terms of Lithos, we've launched the testnet. That's been really going quite well so far. It's been nice to see that in like a dynamic testing environment. They've been catching bugs that have been coming up. It's been a really good stress test because right now on testnet, Lithos is the king.
I've never had so many people mining. I'm mining testnet with a 3090 using Mining Core, and I haven't gotten a block in like days, Joe. It's quite competitive.
It's been awesome, and it's one of those things where like what in testnet right now we actually are seeing a scenario where Lithos actually has the majority of hash rate in the framework. Right, but you still have a distribution of blocks to people, unique miners, which is the ideal outcome for Lithos, is to be able to spread those block producers. Today we did have kind of a big event, which because we're on testnet, nobody's really lying about their NISPs, the amount of work that they're trying to submit, and they're just running the base client, and the base client is more or less following its own logic, so it's quote unquote honest. So we've started lying on testnet, and today the first fraud proof that caught a misrepresentation of work worked, and it slashed us.
Ooh, how much did you put up for the slash? Is that the same cost as the block reward?
Yeah, so essentially, when you have miners that are running fraud proofs, when you reduce somebody's like submitted share, they get paid less and you get paid more. Right. So there is a nice natural incentive there to audit other miners, because if you catch something, you benefit from slashing them or slashing their share that they submitted. Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the game theory in terms of like, why would people want redundantly, auditing the work of other people? Because they get paid more when they catch something, right? So that does kind of spread horizontally across all of the actors. We still have more work to do in terms of the testnet, but overall things are going really well. We're going to get another update, probably in a couple of days, getting the collateral system working properly again, along with the client's API. But things are chugging along, and testnet is its own beast. It's pretty cool to see.
You guys have drained me dry of ergs for collateral. If anybody has any ergs that is running the Lithos, please just send them to Cheese, because I'm all out. I think I have 2,000 testnet ergs left, and and I'm not getting any more because Lithos is beating me on the block discovery. So if you have any extra, send them to DM Cheese and send them to Cheese.
It's been really cool to see that type of participation on testnet. So hats off to the community. We are putting together like a airdrop thing for people that have mined the testnet, or maybe even a little bonus for people that are able to slash our fraud that we're putting on the network. But that type of community engagement is really awesome to see. And looking forward to rolling this thing out, and hopefully, getting the March to testnet underway, or mainnet, excuse me.
I'm impressed, Joe. Lithos has been a word on people's lips for a long time, and now it just
2+ years,
and now it just pumps right out. Cheese has been sitting there working in the background for quite a while.
All right, and will we see a paper behind Lithos design?
I hope so.
All right. So
I think it would make sense to put together some sort of white paper. I do think it's funny how we have a tendency on Ergo to build it first and then We need to build it. I don't even think there's a Rosen white paper yet. To be honest, I have to check. I think someone was gonna make something, but
Yeah, well, I think you need now to document and sell it, right? So a lot of coding and well, it's time to sell the tools, right, and the whole story, I believe. And about papers. So we've got a bunch of papers accepted for the first stability workshop, which will take place in Jaipur city, India, on December 15th. So I will present chain cache paper there. Also, Luca will present Dexy paper, and Bruno with different co-authors, including Luca, will present also a few papers. So maybe we can do next AMA from India, then me, Bruno, and Luca. But then, I'm not sure about Thursday actually. Maybe Friday or Saturday.
That's the beauty of the middle weeks, Kusthi. We can be really flexible with it. So just keep us posted.
And I think it would be nice, right, to have some like bleeding edge research AMA after all, for the first time after, I don't know, maybe years. I'm testing Basis Tracker right now, and then also thinking to jump on doing presentations, right? Marketing materials. Then there is a bunch of community-made writings I need to review, such as Silver Sands by Grayman. So did some reviews and. With Basis Tracker available, there is need to finalize it in some implementable form, let's say, right, and then do some real-world experiments. Then there are some other ideas. So there is this forum post by Federico. I need to check about this Commonwealth currency. How's it called? We'll check and probably provide some review. Also testing the forum, which got migrated to a new location, right? So a lot of news. Then we have a new version of Minotaur wallet. And update for Ergo wallet is also done and under testing now. Now it's time to consider publishing details, right, for Ergo wallet, and I think it's good time to start publishing Minotaur as well. We need to figure out details. Then what? Then my hope to release Sublogs white paper. So the initial plan was about the next week, the plan which I had right after the use launch. But with this trip to India, Bruno also invited me to give a short talk at the beginning of the hackathon. Which will be from December 13th, so before the main event. I'm currently not sure about next week, but it's close, and we will start another DevNet. So I actually tested it before the use deployment with a couple of mining peers of mine, and now, it's time for more broad testing. It will be started in a few days. What else?
just a shout out to Bez, who's been cranking out a massive amount of community pages here. He's got ergoblockchain.org. He's got the app built on Ergo theme, right? That he's cranking out. Fantastic artwork, fantastic amount of content there as well.
It's the new community hub, and it has marketing section for you guys. So there you can find a lot of fun pages, which you can distribute around. Then there were a lot of updates reported during yesterday's dev chat for Hermes, and we also have Digen's World, QX. Maybe it's your turn to present.
No, I haven't jumped in that much.
Have you played with Digen?
I haven't. I haven't played with it much. I tried to build something really quickly, and then something else. But that's Rob, right? That's Lithos Rob. Fully doing it?
Yeah. So it's Rob, and they have a lot of good meme NFTs already.
But somebody built a really beautiful 3D block explorer, essentially, kind of like a nice visual where you click on a floating block and you get the stars moving by you, and then all the block information shows up to your right, and you can slide through the blocks. It's really awesome what you can do with this. I think he's using Gemini for that, for the coding, which the new version does a really nice job at that kind of stuff. So if you guys haven't checked it out, please check it out. I'll try to repost something on Twitter today so you can get the link again. But really cool site that he made to be able to put coding in the hands of non-coders.
Digen's World. I'm also playing with wipe coding contracts. So we discussed some things with Rob, and I used an agent to review Dexia contracts also during the use deployment. So along with manual recheck of like everything, there was an agent, coding agent also working on that. Along with tests. Yeah.
Kusthi, Bez wants to know if we need to solidify the Mexico trip. Is that something? Did you talk to who was it? Anon or Allison? Or anybody there? MX, yeah.
Right. So let me check with the guys how big it will be. So a few years ago, there were friends from Pirate Chain joining the event. They offered to share a booth even, but now they're not appearing there, it seems. So need to sync with them. If Lutz from Pirate is coming, that would be great as well, because they have experience with this event. But let's go. Why not? So it will be late February, somewhat second half of February. Acapulco city in Mexico, Anarchapulco conference. And so maybe we can show, I don't know, so some things there, like mesh networks based basis powered peer-to-peer cache for like community trading, something like that. All right, and QX, any updates for our BRICS experiment?
Oh yeah, we're going full. It's ready for. I actually wrote Louis Vatra the other day, and I was like, Louis, I just want to thank you for Tipperbot and having a tool that allowed us to introduce BRIC in a really easy way for plot payments. But I'm going to move off Tipperbot fully. I'm going to sever everybody's Tipperbot wallet. I'm going to actually pull it from the Discord. I can't sever their wallets. And then give them instructions on how to convert to Nautilus and bring the seed phrase over. But the portal's fully built for them. And there's a new method, too, that we're going to distribute BRIC. So the idea is that at least administration here, we don't want to reward things that students should be doing. So like if we want to reward students with Brick for showing up to class and scanning and check-inning, that's something they should be doing. We don't want to reward them for that. So there's very kind of unique cases that we're going to reward them for. And the latest case that we're going to reward them for is we have a huge issue in our physical woodworking shops and machining shops where students aren't checking in with the QR codes with the third-party program called FabMan when they go to the shop. So a shop technician can't know without walking through the shop every time exactly what the capacity of the shop is and how many people are in there because people aren't checking in. So what I've been doing with the portal is I've integrated the API for that third-party software in. Every day it pulls that third-party software to get people to check in. And then in the back end, I already have it made. We can hit a button and it builds a transaction and sends 4 Brick to every single student that checked in that day or that week if it builds up kind of thing. So that's the second to latest thing that we've done. And the latest thing that we've done is we want places to be able to spend this Brick too, right? We want an economy. So what we're doing is I've already built into the portal as well. Students can send their Brick to a wallet through the portal with Nautilus. And then once a month when the 3D printer shop, with the 3D printers, are charging students for the filament that they used through the 3D printer OS application, we take the export from the 3D printer OS application. They wouldn't give me API access, kind of pissed me off, but whatever. We take that Excel export, I dump it into my portal, and I then subtract the Brick that the students have given to the portal from their total. So if you've donated, 50 Brick, that's what? That's about $7, $6. So if you donated $6 to the portal, then we're only going to bill you what your 3D printer cost was minus $6. So it's a way to get that Brick circulating back into us that we can then distribute back out for checking in. So that's the latest thing that we're doing, which is super, super cool. And next semester will be the full-on launch of, hey, everybody, we've severed Discord for Tipperbot. You're all on Nautilus now. Go to the portal and do it. So yeah, the portal, that's what I love about Ergo. With AI and how easy Ergo is to use, it took no time at all to integrate Fleet SDK into just normal JavaScript calls and my Perl programming that I use to write websites. And it's just like Tipperbot. If I'm going to transfer Brick to a student or another student wants to transfer Brick to a student through the portal, they type in the net ID, they hit send. If the student doesn't exist in the portal, it builds a wallet for them automatically and then sends that to Nautilus so the person can complete the transaction to send the transaction. But it's wicked cool. I'm really excited about it. And as this builds and builds, hopefully we have more use cases to give out Brick and more use cases to suck Brick back in as well. So yeah, so that's the Brick update for the day.
Nice. And do you document experiments, maybe not even technical side, but social and socio-economic interactions?
No, I don't. Glasgow had a nice write-up that he surveyed and got everything pretty right, at least in the initial setup and set. But you're right. I'd love to be able to. What I'd love in the future, and maybe a year or two down the road, when we get a real big economy going with Brick here and it's swapping through everything, I'd like to see third-party places. Let's say students want to, students usually buy lumber from 76 Lumber down the road, right? How awesome would it be if 76 came to us and said, we want, or we went to them and said, could we have students drop off Brick and every Brick you hand us back, we'll give you 6 cents for right there kind of thing. So that'd be ideal to have it start spreading outside of the local economy in that manner for merchants that want our students' business.
Yeah, I think possible.
I think so too, for sure. Yeah. All right, guys, we're 11 minutes over. This is great.
All right, yeah. So there are more updates, but yeah, let's wrap up with that. Already quite solid, I believe, list of updates. So yes, see you.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks Richie for coming, talking about use, Joe for use, and Rosen, Kusthi for use, and everything else on your mind. Thanks so much.
Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Take care. Bye.